everybody, and welcome to another episode of 10 Toes Down with Jenn, Prophet Jenn. I'm so excited as always to have you here. Listen, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. You don't want to miss it. I know it's been probably like a couple weeks since we've aired, but life has been happening and so much has been going on in the world. And I think it's time to have a real conversation. And I know you're like, well, what kind of conversation have we been having? Well, we need to have a real conversation. You know, when I just think about where we are in the world, like literally, I don't know how you could be a human being and not be concerned around the amount of death that you see, right? With all of the killing, all of the genocide, just all of the things going on in the world. Like, how can you be okay with this? And I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with the murders and the killings. And holistically, what I'm seeing is that like we're really not in a good place. And I need us to do a self-check-in. I need us to see, are you okay? You, yes, you listening to me, like, are you okay? And it's okay not to be okay. I think a lot of the times we always feel like we have to say I'm fine, but I think it's totally cool to say I'm not fine and I'm not okay. And I'll be the first to tell you, I'm not okay. I am not okay with where we are in the world. I am not okay with the way society is moving and how things are moving in the US. I'm not okay with what's happening in Nepal. I'm not okay with what's going on all over the world. I'm not okay with it at all. And it's just so disheartening, right? And so I want to do a check-in with my viewers and my subscribers to check in with you to see, are you okay? You know, there has been so much going on that causes us to reflect and to think, right, about where we stand on issues and ideology and different things. And though sometimes we might be on different sides or we may disagree, hopefully we can agree on the fact that life is important. We can agree on the fact that peace is important. I think and hope we could agree that like some of these base things are important. And there's just a lot of unrest in the world. And I started to really think about, you know, why is there so much unrest and what is really going on in the world? And let me tell you something. I have my own conclusion, a part of that. And I'm not going to say that that is correct in totality, but what I will tell you is that I think it's a part of it. Recently, I was traveling, and as I was traveling, I was in a waiting area, waiting for my train to arrive. And as I was waiting for my train to arrive, there were a few people in the waiting area that I just simply noticed because you just pay attention. And so as I was in this waiting area, it was myself, a Black woman. There were two Caucasian men, one Caucasian woman. There was another African American lady. She looked to be a little younger, more like high school age. And there was a Hispanic woman. And everybody's just waiting, minding their business, waiting for the train, right, to arrive. Now, clearly, I could see that the Hispanic woman she looked like she was a little lost or confused on where to go. She looked like she was uncertain of what track to go to. From my observations, I'm just an onlooker. I have no facts at this point, but just looking around and peeking up every now and again from my phone, it seemed like she was a little confused as she was staring and peering at the screen and looking at the tracks. Like I could tell that she might have been a little confused or lost. But again, I'm minding my own business, seated in my seat, waiting for my train. But it was just my observation. I then noticed that the woman, the Hispanic lady, she was older. Definitely looked like she could have been a little bit older than me, or maybe even around the same age, to be fair. And she looked around the station and she surveyed. I literally watched her survey the room. And I put my head down as I watched her survey the room, and I kept minding my business. And when she looked around, she made a decision. And that decision was to come to me, of all people. Now, again, there's 2 Caucasian men, 1 Caucasian woman, and, excuse me, another African American girl who appears to be a little younger. The woman, Hispanic woman, comes over to me and she begins to try to communicate to me, where is such and such a place? And so I listened, and then I assisted her and I helped her get to where she needed to go. What I found very interesting was when she looked around that room, even though my head was in my phone and I peeked up a few times, she made a decision that out of everybody in that room, for whatever reason, I was the person that she felt comfortable with asking for help. And then that got me to wonder, and that put me down a path where I started to think. And I came across a particular post on TikTok of an Indian man. And this particular Indian man was talking about how his mother had taught him from a very young age that if he was ever in need of help or assistance, that he should find a Black woman, that he should find an African-American woman because a Black woman would help you. And I thought that was real interesting. Let's take a quick look at the video.
Okay, I haven't been on TikTok for a bit, and I noticed everyone was tagging me in that whole Andrew Schultz thing about Black women. I'll make a different comment about Andrew Schultz and that little rat Akash thing, but I want to say something about Black women. And this was my mother, and I God is my witness right now. May the Lord strike me down if I'm lying. My mother told me and my siblings when we were young kids, before I remember it was when my older brother started secondary school. It was a big deal, my older brother going off to the big boy school. And my mum sat us down and she said, if you're ever in trouble out there in the real world, look for a Black woman. My mum said this. My mum was raised in this country from the age of 6, the UK. She said, look for a Black woman. She said, anywhere in the world, a Black woman will help you. She was never wrong. But it's incredible that my mother said that. And I don't know what my mum went through. But I remember seeing photos of my mum in school when she was in high school and stuff. And she had loads of Black friends and stuff. And they were all Black women. Because my mum wasn't a pick-me. She only had female friends. And so she obviously felt some protection. And growing up for me, I noticed in my school, it was a very predominantly white school. The Black teachers looked out for me. I had a Black Jamaican teacher called Mrs. Forrester. She looked out for me. But even outside of school, when I started growing out my hair, it was a Black woman that taught me how to look after my curls, what products to use. It's Black women that built me up on this platform and got me to where I am. I have to give credit to where credit is due. It was women in general, but Black women specifically who boosted me and told me how pretty I was and how great I was. But I am trying to make a point here, and it's that Black women get treated the worst. The worst. Malcolm X said this. He goes, unfortunately, they are treated the worst. By the medical field, by the education field, by the police, by everything. Yet they're the ones that give the most love. And for I saw what he said in that post, Andrew Schultz, and some comments, and it's sad, and it hurts my heart when I think of those things, because I'll tell you right now, it wasn't that long ago. My friend Jordan, who I love and boast about, Jordan's got these. Jordan's family is just. When I was homeless, and Jordan introduced me to his family, they treated me like I was one of them. They didn't even care. They were just they treat me like family. It didn't feel awkward. You know when you go over to someone's house and you just sat in the corner for a bit? It didn't feel like that. And I know not all Black people are the same. Obviously, I know that. But there's one thing that Black people universally have, and that is that beautiful smile and beautiful love that they just give out. But I'm telling you, it's a special feeling. I remember going to Jordan's once, and I was just heartbroken. His family just welcome me, and they were like, "Where's the?" You know what? You know what his family said to me? They go. Oh, we've got a plate ready for you. And then Jordan's cousin just looks me up and then goes, "You're still skinny, boy." And I'm just like, Right. Well, yeah. I know I'm home. Just no. I can't sit and not make a comment on this because no. And I know I made a post like months ago about black men, but I yeah. Just and go look through history. Go look at what Nina Simone did. Go look at what. Go look at what Doreen Lawrence, Stephen Lawrence's mother did. Go look at what Betty Shabazz did. Like these people are just incredible, incredible, and we don't give credit where credit is due. We really don't. And I think nowadays we're living in this world where if someone's pretty, we give them credit. Credit for what? They were just born beautiful, but like we don't look at the person's soul. We don't look at like who we don't look at what people can attribute to life. If we did, we would give Mary C. Cole a huge statue. So that's my 2 cents. And
So it started to make me think, what's missing in the world? What is happening specifically on the continent where I live, which is the United States of America? And it got me to thinking, Black women are what's missing. It is my opinion and my observation that as a Black woman living in America, that Black women are the most disrespected, undervalued, hardworking individuals. My opinion, from what I've seen and what I've lived. And what I also know is that we're also one of the first people oftentimes to help. And then that brought me to a place in my mind. And honestly, guys, it was a little frustrating because it's like this overwhelming feeling of reality starts to hit. And I realize that as a Black woman, we are oftentimes looked at or leaned on for help. And oftentimes, as Black women, people want us to help, to jump in, to save the day. But when I look at statistics and I look at the leadership in this world, Black women aren't at the top of that. Black women are not at the head of corporations or running businesses by a large majority. But African American women, though we're often looked to help or save the day, are not looked at as people who can lead. And so it's so frustrating because when I look at the world, I think about the situation I was in with the lady who was a Hispanic woman. And she made a determination about everybody in that room that she thought that I was the best person to ask for help. And I find that I think that where we are in the world is the people who can help are the people who the world doesn't want to lead them. We're good enough to help you, but we're not good enough to lead you. We're good enough to assist you, but we're not good enough to help you lead an organization or lead a company or lead the country or lead a business or lead the state or lead a party or lead an organization or whatever that might be. We're always looked at as people who can help, but we're not looked at people who can lead. And that leads me to the point that we are in a place in society where colorism is playing such a huge part. And we are so divided and we're not unified because we're looking at color. And because of the color of someone's skin, we find ourselves often questioning their capabilities simply because of how they look and have no knowledge of who they are. We don't know their educational level. We don't know their upbringing. But you know, when I was raised around some people, I know people who went to Harvard and I know people who dropped out of high school. So I know people all across the board. And what I've found is that there is power in diversity of thought. There is power in diversity of experiences. There is power in diversity of these things, but we lose that when we close ourselves off to people because of who they are or the color of their skin. We lose that. And it brought me to a really hard reality, a reality that a lot of people may not want to admit or discuss. It's a reality that it is so true. I can feel it in my being. It is the reality of what we've been taught without being taught. It is the reality that on our minds, no matter where you are, you have been taught that white is right. You have been taught this. And now I'm not saying in every situation that that statement is not true, because there might be certain instances and circumstances where that does yield to be true. But more often than not, that is what we're taught. We are taught that white is right and black is wrong. That is what we're taught. We are taught that black can't be the best. Black is always an error. There is always an issue with black. There is always an issue with brown. There is always an issue. And the reality is, when I look at true history, when I look at society, more often than not, the people who are trying to extend a hand and lend a hand are people who are black and brown. The people who oftentimes are trying to mend and to bend and to help are oftentimes people that are a minority. But why is it that we are living in a time where we find ourselves not wanting to support ourselves? We find ourselves in a place where we believe that if someone else of a different color is leading, then that's better than a person of color. We've been trained this and taught this in every industry, right? We've been trained and taught this in church. And so now we're living in a society where there is so much hatred, so much meanness, so much anger, because we've developed and we fed into this colorism. We literally are living this. And if we're honest, there are biases that are embedded within all of us that we have to check at the door every single day, that we have to literally pull back the covers and the sheets of things that our grandmother or grandfather have told us and that we live with quietly and silently. And it isn't until a situation arises that you begin to think about something in a different way that you've never thought about, but because it's embedded in you. It's embedded in you because of society and what we see on TV and the commercials we watch and the history books we read, right? It's embedded in us to think a certain way. And it is not until we begin to unthink, unlearn, that we begin to realize that we are the problem. We are the issue because we've allowed the toxicity of ideology to embed our minds, that we are now hindering the growth and the progress of peace, love, and unity. We are the problem. We are the people who are literally incapable of changing because we allow society to ingrain in us these theories that are not even true when we don't even go by our own actions and really think about the receipts. When somebody helped you, what color were they? When somebody assisted you, what color were they? What socioeconomic status were they, right? You didn't care about that when you were in need. It didn't matter. But why is it we live in a space, in a time where we've allowed colorism to affect us to this magnitude? And the reality is, I'm here to tell you, based upon what I've been seeing, Black women have been done so unjustly in this world. Black women who have bore babies, who have raised children of other cultures. It is Black women who are underrated. It is Black women who are overlooked. It is Black women who are the fabric of this very nation, but we are overlooked by Black men, white men, Asian men. We are overlooked, and it is time for us to begin to speak up, to say, no, it is not what you say, but it is my time and it is my moment. It is Black women that children have been raised to lean on. It is Black women that no matter the race or culture, children have been raised by Black women for centuries, but somehow Black women are good enough to raise children, but they are not good enough to lead. It is Black women who have not been dealt a fair hand. And thus by that, it is Black women who have raised their hands and says, enough is enough. And if you don't want to respect us, then we're not going to help. It is Black women that change the hand. It is Black women that turn the tide. It is Black women who step in and say, no, we can help you. But it is Black women who are tired. It's Black women who are tired. They're tired of raising families. It is Black women of being disrespected in corporate offices. I know people in IT and corporate offices. I know people in e-commerce. I know people in the medical industry. I know people across different industries. And one thing I can tell you, Black women are so disrespected to the point that we are now tired. We're tired. We're tired of being disrespected, overlooked, underpaid, overworked. We're tired of the promotion going to the next person, but overlooking us, the one who put in the work and put in the time. When I look at the fabric of where we are as a nation in America, it is very clear to me that there's one thing missing, and that is the power of the Black woman. And we have to wake up and recognize that we have to do better by Black women. We have to do better by our young girls. We have to do better. And that starts with Black women. That starts with Black men standing side by side with Black women, supporting them, helping them, and lifting them up. That's where this starts. It starts with us being unified, because in America, and I don't know where you are when you're listening to this, but where I am, Black women are not respected. And it is time for the voice of the Black woman to rise out of the echoes of the caves that people walk past every day. It is time for Black women's voices to rise up from the valleys to the mountaintops. It is time for the voices of Black women to rise. It is time for the respect. Matter of fact, it's time to put some respect on Black women's names. And yeah, you might be watching and think that this is funny or think like I'm crazy. But the truth is, what's missing in the world, what is missing in America, is Black women. And Black women have checked out. Like, Black women have checked out. And Black women are like, I am on my own agenda, because we've been on your agenda for so long. That code switching is exhausting. We've been on your agenda for so long. I'm tired of playing the game and always feeling like I'm losing. I'm tired of being told what to do. And so when I look at the world, when I look at where we are as a society, I realize we think that white is right. And we've been taught that. We've been taught that without it directly coming out of someone's mouth like that. But we've been taught that. And we've eaten that pie, and we've bought into that. And because of that, when opportunity comes for someone else to rise out of the echoes, we question their capabilities to lead and to guide. The last time I checked, if someone is good enough to help me, they should be good enough to lead me. We have to do better by Black women. And yes, we can talk about women across different cultures, and women across different cultures have had a bad rap too. It is clear, it is evident. But when I was in that train station and that lady needed assistance, she didn't go to the white man. She didn't go to the white woman. She didn't even go to the young Black girl. She came to an older Black woman for help because she knew there was something in her that knew that I would help her. And there is something in the world that when we rise up as women, we will put in place and fix the very things that need to be fixed. Women are the missing link to what's going on. Women are what's necessary right now. And this is not about an ego thing. It's not about that. It's just wake up. What is it missing? It's like going to, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, right? It's like going to somebody's house that invites you over for Thanksgiving and you sit down to eat and you don't see a turkey. You're going to say, where's the turkey? Because you're so accustomed to seeing a turkey at Thanksgiving, right? So is it with women. If you open your eyes and pay attention, that is what's missing. It is the voice of women all across this nation and all across this world. That is what's missing. And we have to wake up and pay attention. Am I empowering the voice of a woman? Am I empowering the voice of a woman? Or am I deflating her voice? Am I silencing a woman? Or am I helping her so that her voice is heard? Am I muzzling the mouth of a woman because I think that she's incapable? Am I the person doing that? You need to check yourself. And if you're a woman, you need to check yourself too. Because what we cannot afford to have now in society and in this world is women who are not supporting women and women who don't believe in women. If that is you, shame on you. Because you came out of a woman. And it was the very strength of her that allowed you to exist. So how dare we not support the essence of women? It is time for all of us to wake up and understand that white is not right. It is time for us to understand that we have done a huge disservice to this nation and to this world by allowing colorism and sexism and racism to be interwoven into the fabric of what we call life. Shame on us. But there is only a few people that can change that. And that is you and that is me. I need you to get 10 toes down about being the change that the world needs to see. And not just in public for credit or rhetoric, but to mean it, to do something, to let your voice be heard. Don't allow people to muzzle your mouth. Don't allow people to tell you what you can and cannot do. This is the time for the voice of the woman to rise up. This is the time for women all across this world to say enough is enough. This is the moment and this is the hour for women to recognize who they are. Because it's been a long, long time since women have had the power and the support. Because we tear each other down instead of build each other up. We need women to rise up. Your voice matters. And change is here. We are living in such distressful times. And I look around and I see what's missing. It is the voice of a woman. So wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I challenge you. Make sure that you are empowering women. Make sure you're not muzzling their mouth. Make sure you're not deflating them. Make sure that you are the anchor and the support. And maybe you're not somebody that's in the forefront, and that's fine. But women have value in the forefront and in the back. It matters. Make sure that you are somebody who is being the change and being a part of the change and elevating a woman's voice. Make sure that you're not drowning her out. Make sure that you are allowing the space for her to grow and for her to rise. Make sure that you are not the person that is tearing her down instead of building her up. What the world needs is women. And I'm here to tell you, and maybe I can't speak for all women, but I know women are tired of being overlooked, overworked, and forgotten about. I know women are tired of being good enough to help, but not being good enough to lead. I know women are tired of being told what to do and not being heard with their ideas or their opinions. I know women are tired, but I'm also here to tell you it's time for women. And if you believe that and you know that, stand up, be the change, motivate yourself, do something, write the book, start the business. Whatever it is burning on the inside of you, you have to do it, and you have to do it now. Don't allow people to muzzle your mouth. God gave you a voice. God gave you a gift. And your gift is going to shine now. I'm telling you, the covers are being pulled back, and women are going to get the exposure. Women are going to get the chance. It is what you're going to do with it. Don't squander the opportunity, but do something with the opportunity. What the world is missing is women. The world is missing women. And I know in America, the voice of the Black woman is what's missing. The support of Black women is what's missing. What are you going to do to help women get their voice back? How will you help, and how will you assist? Will you be a sister of change or a sister of hate? Will you be a part of helping another woman, or will you be the person that tries to tear another woman down quietly? It's time, because what America is missing is the support of Black women, because we've checked out. And now, as we're checking in on our agenda and on our time, because we've been good enough to help, but we have not been good enough to lead. So we won't lead under your circumstances. We will lead under ours. Let's get 10 toes down.